we just wanted you to know, in case you don't know, that your wife is having an affair with Paul. I said nothing for several seconds, but when I finally did speak, all I could come up with was, Paul who? Paul Hay, she said, Trina's husband. Did you know they have a little boy named Casey? Did you know Trina has lupus? Or that they're building a house? Jesus, she was giving me the whole A&E biography, and I was still on Paul Hay, Paul Hay. Where do I know that? Maureen's betrayal hadn't broken the surface yet, or maybe it had, because my instinct was to kill the messenger. So what are you, some no-life chick's got to borrow her friend's business? I asked. This is my business, okay? She said, I'm Casey's godmother. You're fat, right? You have a fat voice. Do you know who bought Trina and Paul the lot that they're building the house on? Trina's father, that's who, the month before he died. Your options are limited, right? It's either Tina's problems or a spoon, a pint of Ben and Jerry's between your knees and touched by an angel. Her name is Trina, okay? And my personal life is none of your business. You just tell your little slut of a wife that if she thinks she's moving into Trina's new house when it's finished, There was dead air for a few seconds, some muffled whispering, and then the Avenger was back on the line, blubbering. I am trying to stop your wife from destroying my friend's marriage, okay? Yeah, sure, fat chunks. Your Nobel Peace Prize is in the mail. I can't remember which of us hung up on the other. Well, I paced, I muttered. I sent my student's blue books flying and the dogs running for cover, and when I realized the cordless phone was still clenched in my hand, I whacked it 5 or 6 times against the refrigerator door. My car keys were on the counter. I stared at them for several seconds, and then I grabbed them. I had a terrible time starting this story. A year's worth of promising beginnings fizzled into false starts. I had a waiting readership, a book contract, and a deadline, but no story. In the midst of this creative drought, I agreed to teach a writing seminar at the Tennessee Williams Festival in New Orleans. It was my first visit to the city, and I mostly avoided the conference schmoozing in favor of walking the streets alone. My wandering led me to St. Louis Cathedral on busy Jackson Square in the city's French Quarter. Outside there was revelry, jugglers, street musicians, dancing, drinking, a lot of drinking. But the cavernous church was empty. And in my forlorn state, I went in there, I lit a candle, I knelt, and I prayed to, well, I don't know exactly who I was praying to. The muse, the gods, ghost of Tennessee Williams. Whoever or whatever you are, I said, please let me discover a story. And shortly after that trip, I began this novel in earnest. This was the first sentence that my then nameless, then identityless protagonist spoke to me. My mother was a convicted felon, a manic depressive, and Miss Rheingold of 1950.